Alright everybody, this is Envoy of Kairos, coming back to you for more Terraria, and I'm not gonna sit around home base and explain everything right now, because we just got into hard mode and there's a bit of a time limit going on now. So, to summarize, once you get into hard mode, things go to shit pretty quickly. The enemies all get considerably stronger, faster, generally more dangerous. The evil biomes and the new biome that were just added become absolute hell. And basically, if I'm going to survive, I'm going to need to be very, very careful and very, very quick. So, my current goal is to just make my way down into these biomes. To destroy enough of these altars to get the ores that I need in order to make armor strong enough to survive this next stretch of the game. That's also part of why I made the Knight's Edge, because, you know, weapons that are more melee focused are better for defensive play, which once you get into hard mode you're going to be doing a lot of, whether you want to or not. Just trying to hold everything back and survive. Like that, yeah. And I basically need to just repeatedly do that a few more times in the hopes that I end up making enough progress to go down and easily find these ores and dig up a shit ton of them for easy progress. Getting deep underground to find them is going to be difficult now, because apparently the space that I chose for my underground town is now corrupted into the Crimson Biome, so it's not a functional town anymore. I can't go there anymore. Or at least, I can go there on foot, but, my waypoint is non-functional. I can't teleport there anymore. This stretch of the game is going to be a little painful. Well, I got two more. Okay, so our first recognizable mass of the new ores to spawn is right here. That, I believe, is cobalt. Some of you may remember that I have the cobalt shield already, and already have it crafted into something else in my inventory. In some Terraria mods, the cobalt ore and, well, the cobalt bars resulting from the ore can be turned into the cobalt shield. Not really the case in the main game. They kind of overlooked that, but whatever. I mean, they didn't really add shields as a general thing you can make in the main game, but mods have that really covered, and as soon as, you know, as soon as Mod Loader updates for this version of the game, I'm definitely going to be getting it, but I'll do that first playthrough just for myself instead of on the channel. Because to be frank, this base game playthrough is probably not going to be done by the time that Mod Loader is ready. Okay, I've gotten that to 100. That's good. Now, because I am still heavily relying on the Star Cannon, I'm definitely going to be going with the ranged option, because as you can see here, there's 3 different available helms, and each of them gives a different damage type buff. So right now, with the Star Cannon being my main offense, I'm definitely going to be going for range, but eventually I'm probably going to switch to melee after I can get a particular armor set. Okay, so with my armor upgraded to Cobalt, my longevity should be vastly improved. But I do have one more thing I want to do before going back out. Well, with my defenses raised, I should be able to get over here and break a couple more of those altars so I can spawn more ores down there and get a bit farther. And then, of course, because it isn't night anymore, there's going to be less offensive creatures spawning down here. Oh, that's where the newest meteor landed. Okay. Is to go back down and collect some orichalcum. Alright, here's our first orichalcum vein. Oh great, this fucking thing. But I did get a couple of new materials. So up here you can see the Soul of Night, Ichor, and the Fleeting Blindfold. The Blindfold is going to be very important for getting one of the most powerful defensive items in the game, if not the most powerful defensive item in the game. The Soul of Night is a major crafting component for a hell of a lot of stuff, actually. I am very glad that titanium was the ore that generated, because it's definitely my favorite of the two, which would, you know, a lot of you who know me would consider that kind of odd with, you know, how much I obviously love red. But titanium is statistically better than adamantium. So, purely on that merit, I really prefer titanium because it just gives you such better survivability here. That and the design of the titanium armor is actually a lot cooler. That was exactly enough. So now, the next step is going to be to blaze my way deeper and try and get deep enough to find where the titanium is generated. Okay, well right there is titanium, right next to where I died. So the first thing with orichalcum you need to make is an orichalcum anvil. And once you have that, you can craft all of the gear that comes from the next level of all this. So, and top that off with upgrading my tools. And now I have the Unreal Orichalcum Repeater, which now, that definitely has better results than the Star Cannon. Just barely, but it does. So I'm going to go put the Star Cannon and the Mini Shark away. Ooh, Traveling Merchant is here. Once you get into hard mode, the Traveling Merchant starts providing some newer stuff for you to buy, so I should definitely check out what he's got. Ooh, and now I have my Crimson Cloak. Despite there being a good amount of it right in the Crimson biome there, I'm going to ignore what's in the Crimson completely and just dive deeper than it and try to collect what is down at Hell depth. Right now, Hell is literally favorable to the Underground Crimson, because the Underground Crimson is basically an Eldritch biome at its absolute worst. And as you can see, it only takes 2 shots from one of those fucking things to kill me, and now one of them is just parked right there. Thankfully, these guys can easily be stun-locked if you can get in close enough to melee the shit out of them. Okay, so if I'm gonna have any chance at getting some of this fucking titanium, it's getting abundantly clear that I'm gonna have to start digging elsewhere if I can even find a place to do so. Okay, I'm gonna try something that might be a little stupid, might be a little crazy, but I think it has the best possible chance of working. You see, although everything does get more difficult in hard mode, that's also largely because of all of the new variants of enemies that have new debuffs and shit they can force on you that you are not prepared for yet. Like the Ichor debuff that you guys just witnessed with all of those jellyfish assholes down there. Well, basically, there's one area that was already difficult pre-hard mode that doesn't get any new enemies until much later into hard mode. And that would be the dungeon. So, although the dungeon was a pain in the ass that killed me repeatedly before, right now, with all of my new gear, it's actually favorable in comparison to, well, the shit that I was just dealing with. Let's see how fast I can get deep enough to see some titanium outside these walls and tunnel to it. Okay, I think I'm gonna have more luck finding it looking elsewhere. And here is the wizard NPC finally spawned. Okay. Oh, great, and now we've got a Goblin Invasion coming. Oh, shit. Right. The hard mode Goblin Invasion actually is more difficult. Oh, right, and they added the Shaman. So the goblins have an actual boss now. What would really fucking suck is if I got this close to beating them. Oh, I did beat them. Okay. The Goblin Invasion is finished. Jesus Christ. Yes. Got it. Now, teleport home. It's time to research that titanium. Create a titanium forge. Start melting down titanium bars. And now, I can make myself some titanium armor. And thankfully the Goblin Tinkerer has already respawned, so I can go ahead and talk to him and get my 2 new weapons fully upgraded. There we go, Legendary Titanium Sword and Unreal Titanium Repeater. My damage is looking pretty solid now. So now, we have to worry about the next big thing for hard mode, and that would be the bosses. So while I expand this arena here for in case one of them just decides to randomly spawn, I'm gonna tell you all what's up with the mechanical bosses. So these guys are basically upgraded versions of bosses that you've already seen me deal with. Particularly, they're upgraded versions of the Eye of Cthulhu, Skeletron, and actually, now that I think of it, one you haven't seen me deal with, and that would be instead of an upgraded version of the Brain of Cthulhu, the mechanical bosses include an upgraded version of the Corruption's equivalent boss, the Eater of Worlds, which is basically just a giant fucking evil worm. The boss I'm going to aim to destroy first is probably going to be the Destroyer of Worlds, the mechanical version of the Eater of Worlds. Largely because they're just the easiest to deal with. Their attack pattern is pretty self-explanatory. If you make an arena that goes up to a certain height, it's much more difficult for them to face you. And their attack patterns, while large, are predictable, and overall just dodging him is easier. The hardest part is largely going to be making sure that I have the right resources, defenses, and so on to deal with them. I'm definitely going to have to do some wiring and rig up some heart statues in this arena to make sure that I have a replenishable source of health around. You know, a source besides my potions, because my potions are not going to cut it right now. But I'm also going to go and upgrade my potions as well, which will require some materials from the new biome that just generated. Okay, with all of those turned on, those heart statues will be pumping out hearts every half second. And with that, I'll have a good source of replenishable health to work with, even when my potions aren't cutting it. But now, I need to put an end to this slime rain faster, and we all know the fastest way to do that. Well, I'd say he got sufficiently stomped. Okay, and for the final thing for this episode, I'm going to show you guys the new biome that generated. You've already seen some of the crimson, including the underground portion, and how horrifying that is. Well, let me show you what we're dealing with in the other direction. I haven't even taken a look at this yet, so I don't know exactly what over here has changed and how much, but we'll find out. Okay, so now we're starting to see the effects of the new biome, the Hallowed Biome. As you can see, the water's been turned pink, but you can't see really anything else, and that's because the mud of the jungle biome isn't affected, only the stone, which you really can't see through all the mud. Which basically means if I'm going to do anything with the Hallowed Biome, I'm going to have to try and find a way to bring it artificially to the surface, which is going to take a bit. Or I'm gonna have to just go to the underground one through the underground. Because right now, I don't have any other way to make the Hallowed Biome. I could make a small artificial one on the surface, but I need underground materials anyway. So it looks like I'm headed back down to hell already. Okay, so to summarize, the biggest thing I'm trying to achieve here is that in the underground crimson, anything you kill has a chance to drop a Soul of Night. As you can see, I've currently got 9 of them, and I need to research 21 more in order to unlock enough of them for an infinite supply. And that will give me what I need in order to summon the Destroyer of Worlds. Now, there's always a chance for the Destroyer of Worlds or any of its 2 mechanical siblings to show up at random on their own. But I prefer to be in control of it, so of course I'm gonna try and go the summoning method. Okay, and now I've got 21 Souls of Night, so I have the infinite supply I needed. Now I just need to get down into Hell and survive heading west through Hell long enough to find the underground entrance to the Hallowed Biome. And right there is one of the crystals I was talking about. To make an infinite supply, all I've got to do is get 25 of them. I really wish I could show you guys what the normal Hallowed Biome looks like, but because it ended up overlapping with the jungle, it didn't really generate on the surface, which means I'm going to have to make an artificial one later. I've now properly found my way into the Hallowed Biome. The problem? Now I have to deal with hallowed enemies. Ah, you can see an example flying on the screen right now. That is obviously the hallowed equivalent of the axe that you guys saw me slaying in the Underground Crimson. And there we go. That is the infinite supply of those I needed. I'm gonna call it for this episode. But overall, I'd say this was a very eventful one. I managed to get a lot of shit done. I now know I have a decent chance of surviving everything coming. And soon, I'll be able to get some serious upgrades and show you guys some of the coolest stuff this game has to offer. But for now, this is Envoy of Kairos, signing out, and looking forward to kicking a lot of ass next episode. Later, guys. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're looking to support me a little further, maybe get some bonus content, or just keep up with me and other fans, you can find links down in the description leading to my Patreon, my Discord, and my Twitter. And, if you're following me on Patreon, then you can expect some content polls to decide what's coming up on the channel, yet a little bit of background additions to some other series I've been working on, some more original and creative stuff. And who knows, if enough of you start supporting me soon, I might have a few other surprises up my sleeve too. Again, thanks for watching. and I hope to see you all again on the next video.